Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, hello everyone. So today we are group 4 want to explain about above the segment syllable. But before that, let us introduce ourselves first. So, Cinta, next slide. So this is our my companion, my companion in this group. First, we have Nimas Virginia Cinta. Second, we have myself as the moderator. Third, we have Muhammad Haikal Hairan. Fourth, we have Aprilianti. And five, we have Rizkia Kipti. Okay, Cinta, next slide. Okay, for the first material will be explained
Haikal.
by Haikal. Okay. Time is yours, Haikal.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Today, I will start our discussion on syllables by focusing on the syllable as a phonetic entity. This is the first topic in chapter 6, and it serves as the foundation for understanding syllable structure, sonority, and syllable patterns in later sections. For the first slide, let us start with a basic definition. For a syllable is a basic unit of speech sounds that is organized around a vowel. This means that a syllable is not about spelling and it is not about how many letters a word has. Instead, it is about sound. A syllable exists in spoken language. It is something we hear and produce when we speak. This brings us to the second important point. A syllable is not the same as a word, and it is not the same as a letter. For example, the word cat has three letters, but it only has one syllable. We pronounce it in one beat, cat. On the other hand, the word teacher has seven letters, but it has two syllables, teacher. When we say it, we clearly hear two rhythmic units. So, the number of letters in a word does not determine the number of syllables. What determines syllables is how the word is pronounced. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first point is why syllables are difficult to define. Defining individual speech sounds is relatively straightforward because we can describe how they are articulated. However, defining the syllable is much more difficult. Unlike consonants and vowels, syllables do not have a single clear lexical or phonetic definition. One early phonetic attempt to define this syllable is known as the chest pulse, chest pulse or initiator burst theory. According to this idea, each syllable is produced by one muscular contraction in the chest involving the lungs. In this view, syllable corresponds to one burst of muscular energy. Next slide, please. Okay, why this theory is limited? This theory may work reasonably well for language like French, where syllables tend to have similar durations. However, it is much less successful for English. Stress syllables are often longer than ones. For examples, you can see on the right one. For example, in the word pigeon, the first syllable is noticeably longer than the second. Pigeon, pigeon. This makes it unlikely that each syllable corresponds to a single muscular contraction of equal duration. This shows the weakness of purely phonetic explanation of syllables in English. Okay, that's it for my part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Haikal for explaining what is syllable. For the second material will be explained by Cinta. Cinta, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Len. Next, the internal structure of syllable. Okay, everyone, look at the word inside a syllable. We think like a small syllable need a structure and internal part, and a syllable is more than just a string of sound. It has a hierarchical internal structure. It typically divided into three main components. And is there the onset, the nucleus, and the coda. And don't forget about the rhythm. But the main point is nucleus, onset, and coda. For nucleus is the core of syllable. Usually a vowel. It is the only obligatory. And for onset is the consonant that come before the nucleus, and the coda is consonant that come from after the nucleus. And for the rhythm is the unit formed by combining the nucleus and the coda. So, like I said before, three component is nucleus, onset, and coda, and you cannot adjust three of them. For the rank is nucleus for first, second the onset, and the third is coda. Next slide. The internal of syllable for section the syllable tree. I have the example here is crank. For the onset is crack, and for the rim is ink, and for the nucleus is egg. Yeah. And for the coda, actually we cannot use the coda for that, but we for the formula is there a sigma right thorough onset following by rim. Rim is the nucleus following by coda. To make it easier, wait. You can see the diagram is the rank, like I said before, about the onset, rhythm, nucleus, and the coda. For the onset in this crank, for the example, sound at the start, and the rim is the rest of the word, and inside the rim and nucleus is the vowel, and the coda is the sound at the end. So you can combine by following the structure for the every word or every sound you need following by a internal structure of syllable. Next slide. You might ask why do we group the nucleus and the coda is together? We have a three cool proof, and before that you can see of the picture is phonological awareness. We have four. The main point is word awareness, syllable awareness, alliteration, rhyming, and phonetic awareness. So, alliteration and rhyming is one of the evidence for the read in syllable structure. First is rhyming in poetry. To make two word rhyme, for example, gold and strolled, they must share the same rhythm unit. So the onset does not matter. And for the second, we have alliteration. This is focuses on the onset. For example, game and gone and share. Share, game. For the G. For the G sound, proving the onset is a prepaid functional unit. And the last is spontaneism. Spontaneism is a slip of the tongue after swept onset between words. For example, hook date instead of dog head. Hook date instead of dog head. It showing our brain treat the onset as the distinct block, like It seems familiar, but we have a rank between onset and between the word we use with our tongue. Next slide is contraction and variation. So it's not all about syllable are the same. In English, the nucleus is the only part of you must have. Word like I have not onset and no coda, just a nucleus. Eyes, and you can see flea. Flea is without a coda. And also, did you know a consonant can sometimes be nucleus? In the word muton, the nucleus at the end, muton, and sound is action like a vowel. So you can adjust about how the word and how the sound uh, in consonant. And and some language are even more flexible. For example, in Berber, sound like T sound and F sound can actually be nucleus of syllable. So I think that's all from me. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you for Cinta that explaining about the previous material. So for the third material will be explained by Miss. So sonority and syllables. So what is sonority? Sonority refers to how loud and how resonant a sound is compared to other sounds. Sounds that are produced with a more open vocal tract are more sonorous. For example, vowels are more sonorous than consonants because air flow freely when we pronounce them. Voice sounds are also generally more sonorous than voiceless sound. So is it like if we say it's more low in sonorous, but if you say a, e, u, e, o, it's more sonorous than the other. Okay. For the next slide, Cinta. Okay, now, so this is the example. For the least sonorous, is voice to stop. It is on with, and then move on to voices stop. P, d, g. It's more quiet. The more sonorous the sound, the more louder you say it. For the third one is voiceless fricative. It more louder, more became more louder. For the third one is voice fricative. For the nasal, it more louder and louder again, and then more liquids. Uh, uh, rrr, rrr. And the next one is glides. Wah, wah, wah. You more become more saying the words. Ja, ja, ja. High vowels. E, 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 U, U, U. For the last one is the more sonorous or the highest, the loudest word that you can say. Ah, it more completely say. You say the word more completely. We can say that if we cannot hear it rightly because the sound is not as loud as ah. Okay, next, Cinta, for the next slide. So, sonority in syllable structure in general, syllables follow a pattern where sonority rises toward the nucleus and falls after it. The nucleus, usually a vowel, is the peak of sonority. The sounds before it form the onset, and the sounds after it form the coda. This rise and fall create a natural sonority peak. I will give you an example. Next slide, Cinta. So the example is word crank. In the word crank itself, there are 5 words. Am I right? K, R, A, N, and K. In the word crank, we can say it first. Crank. Where is it? Where is it more loud? If we say it, it rises from K, the lowest one, into A, the highest one, where you say A, crank. But after that, it falls again. N and K. So, crank. The more loudest is when you say the vowels itself. The rising and falling pattern forms a well-structured syllable. I think that's all from sonority and syllable. Back. Next slide, Cinta. Okay, now for the next material will be explained by April. April, time is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Leon, for the opportunity. Next is syllable boundaries. As Leon already said, that the sonority hierarchy shows the peaks of sounds in a word, and these peaks are usually vowels. And because of this, sonority helps us count how many syllables a word has. For example, as you can see here in the slide, in the word parrot, there are 2 sonority peaks. So we know the word has 2 syllables. But however, there is a problem. Sonority can tell us the number of syllables, but it cannot tell us exactly. So we need another principle to determine the exact syllable boundary. Next slide, please. Okay, to solve this problem, linguists use the principle of onset maximization, as we can see in slide MOP, maximum onset principle. This principle says that consonants between vowels prefer to move to the onset of the next syllable, rather than staying in the coda of the previous syllable. In general, languages prefer syllables with onsets and do not require codas. For example, as you can see here, in the word parrot, the medial sound R becomes the onset of the second syllable. So the division is parrot. There are 2 syllables. Another example is plastic. The consonant cluster st can appear at the beginning of English words, such as star, such as stuck, stack, or stop. Because this cluster is a loud word initially, both consonants move to the onset of the second syllable, giving the division plastic, not plastic, but plastic. Next slide, please. Okay, next is the restriction. However, onset maximization does not apply automatically. The placement of consonant must still follow phonotactic rules, which are the sound pattern restriction of a language. Some consonant clusters cannot appear at the beginning of English words. When this happens, those consonants must stay in the coda of the previous syllable. For example, in the word frantic, the cluster nt, nt, the cluster nt cannot start an English word. So the correct division is frantic, not frantic. In word extra, the sequence the sequence is allowed at the beginning of a word, but the sequence there is k before is not. So the k stays in the coda. and it producing extra. And the last one is in antler. English does not allow initial clusters like t, f, or something like that. So the consonants remain in the coda of the first syllable become antl, antler, antler. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for
I think that's all.
okay, thanks April for the explanation. So the last part will be explained by Rizky Akipti. Rizky Akipti, time is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator. Syllable typology. What is syllable typology? Syllable typology studies the different types of syllable structures across languages. It compares three main things: what patterns are allowed in a language, how complex syllable can be, and how languages differ in onset and coda structure. Not all languages allow the same combinations of consonants and vowels. Some languages are very strict and simple, while others are very complex. Here are the basic syllable patterns. Linguists use symbols to describe syllable patterns. C for consonant and V for vowel. Using these symbols, we can describe syllable structures clearly and systematically. As you can see, here are some common patterns. This first pattern, which is the most simple pattern, is V, vowel, only vowel. For example, in an article a, it has no coda and only have one vowel nucleus. Then the second pattern is CV, consonant and vowel. This is the most common pattern. For example, in the word me, it has one consonant in onset, one vowel in close, and have no coda. Next pattern is CVC. In the word cat, for example, it has one consonant in onset, one vowel in nucleus, and one consonant in coda. Fourth pattern is CCV. For example, play. This word has two consonants in onset, one vowel nucleus, and no coda. And then the last pattern, CCVC. For example, the word stop has two consonants in onset, one vowel nucleus, and one consonant in coda. These patterns show how consonants and vowel are arranged inside a syllable. Some languages only allow very simple patterns like only CV, only consonant and vowel, while others allow much more complex combination like CC, VC, or even more longer clusters. And then next, please, next slide. Now let's look at languages with simple syllable structures and complex syllable structure. Let's go to the simple one first. In Fijian and Sonofo, they only have CV, consonant and verb, one consonant and one vowel only. They have no codals, no consonant clusters, and very strict syllable pattern. For example, from Fijian, bula, bula. The pattern is only CV. CV. Now, its syllable strictly follows the CV structure. So, in these languages, we will never find CVC or CCV or clusters like stir in straight or pull in play. This shows a very simple typology. Alright, now let's compare to the languages with complex syllable structures. We can find it in English, Dutch, and Polish. Their structure is highly complex. They have up to 3 consonants in onset, up to 3 or 4 consonants in the coda, and long vowel and diphthongs are allowed. This means a syllable can begin with several consonants, a syllable can end with several consonants, and then the internal structure can be dense and heavy. For example, we have the word strength. Okay, let's analyze it. The first 3 letters, which are in strength, has 3 consonants in onset cluster. One close with it, which is A, and then the rest strength. It has 4 consonants in coda cluster. This is extremely complex compared to CV-only languages like Fijian. These comparisons shows how languages vary typologically. Some languages prefer simplicity and regularity, while others allow heavy consonant taking and structural complexity. I think that's all from me. Give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kipti, for the explanation. So we move on to conclusion. In conclusion, the syllable is fundamental unit of speech that is more complex than it first appears. Although it's organized around a nucleus, usually a vowel, its internal structure includes the onset, rhyme, and coda, forming a hierarchical system rather than a simple sequence of sounds. The concept of sonority explains why syllables have a natural peak, with sound intensity rising toward the nucleus and falling afterward. Principles such as the maximum onset principle help determine syllable boundaries in language like English. Furthermore, syllable typology shows that language differs significantly in their allowed patterns, from simple CV structures in language such as Fijian to highly complex consonant cluster in English. Overall, the study of syllables provides deeper insight into how speech is structured across language and how phonological systems operate systematically. So I think that's all from our group. Thank you for your time and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.